Meeting is now streaming live on the Book of Faces.
Let me log into Facebook and make sure that that's true.
Okay.
I'm trying to see if it's
Hopefully
true.
some of you guys
Dad,
can see us because
give me
we're
a
making sure
second.
that we are live on Facebook. Last
Hey,
time we
it's
are?
there. We did
Awesome.
it, Dad.
All right. Well, so here we go. We're getting ready to go. Tell me when you're ready to go.
Okay, give me a
Give me the
second.
sign.
I
What's
have
the sign?
so. Oh no, it's playing on my thing. No, be quiet. Okay. Ha ha ha. I'm a genius. I'm
Yes, you
not,
are.
but I
You
am.
are.
Thank you, Dad. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Okay,
Positive talk.
one more second. I'm trying to pull it up so that I can see the comments on the right while I see you on the
Gotcha.
left. And
Okay.
now I have to record to this computer. My
It says
thing's plugged
recording.
in. Okay, Dad,
Are we ready?
go whenever you would like.
Welcome, Internet, and everyone on Facebook Live. This is the taping of episode 16 of Sis and
Woo!
Big Pop's Culture. I
Yeah.
am Big Pop, aka Todd Turner, aka Mosaic Fan Art. And as always,
I am Sis, aka Hannah Joe, and together we are a father and adult daughter duo. We dive into all things geek, nerd, and fandom every episode with a family friendly twist.
hey, Hannah, what are we getting into today?
Yeah, so we have a lot of different things we're going to be talking about today. We have some nerd news, as always. Dad has his pull list for us as
Which we'll
well.
explain again.
We will. We're going to be reading an Image comic, Homesick Pilots. We're going to be talking about that. We're talking about one of my favorite movies in the entire world.
10
We're
movie for
talking about the
Hannah.
movie Arrival. And at the very end, we're going to have some spoiler heavy WandaVision. At this point in time, 3 episodes have been released. And so we're going to be talking about those.
Seen them all 3.
And we're going to be talking about them. So if you don't want to hear about that, don't listen
We'll give you a warning.
to that portion.
Do listen, but just use like a Vulcan thing that erases your memory, because you can do that. And actually, there's a character. Okay, hilarious. I have to spoil it in order to tell you how to not spoil it. So we'll go into that, and I can teach people how they can erase their memory from what we talk about on WandaVision while we talk about WandaVision. It's like the circle of life. It's just like Arrival.
Circle of life.
We're talking in circles.
Okay,
Anyway,
bring it on.
nerd news.
Do you want to go first?
I
Do you want
always
me to
wanted
go
to do
first?
that. You can go first.
Okay, so all of my 90s and 2000s babies out there who are listening into this, there is an animated TV show from 2004. That's when it aired, and it is called The Winx Club. Do you know of Winx Club?
No. Do people just like wink at people?
No, Dad. They're
And then
like
they're part of a club?
they're like
Do they have sandwiches that they cut into
Dad.
triangles?
No,
Do they
they're
use
like
frilly toothpicks?
Dad.
Sorry, go.
No, they are. Shoot, it's been so long ago, so don't like come at me for saying this incorrectly.
No, we are investigative journalists. Not really. So
We
we
are the
say what we
furthest
think
thing
is
from
right,
that.
and then we're sorry if we're wrong. Go, Hannah,
So
you got it.
they are like these teenage girls who have like powers and are
Okay.
like fairies but aren't fairies. Anyways, it was a TV show that came out in 2004. It was an animated TV show. It is now on Netflix. So they have
Really?
revamped it and made a live action version of it.
Oh.
And that's based on it. It's called it's similar to Winx Club. Like if you Google Winx, you'll be able to find it. But you can find that online on Netflix.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I saw a bunch of stuff that was coming out in
It's called-
February. Go ahead.
I
No, go.
figured it out. It's called Fate, the Winx Saga.
Oh, gotcha. Is it spelled Winks?
Winx.
Oh, gotcha.
Winx.
So, no. So if I had typed in Winks,
Yeah,
the
no,
way
it
I
is
thought it was.
fairies. I was right. It's fairy stuff.
Gotcha. Cool.
It's like they all have like powers and they're like fairies, but they're not fairies, and it's awesome.
Gotcha. Well, I saw where like Sonic the Hedgehog is coming to Hulu in February,
Really?
and I really want to watch it. Sonic the Hedgehog was the #1 grossing superhero film of 2020.
Well, they released the trailer and everyone was like, this is trash, redo it. And
And they did.
they listened because it was going to be awful reviews if they released it the way that it was going to be. And then they spent a lot of money to fix it. And then they fixed it and everything is good.
Well, I can't wait to watch the movie because I wanted to watch it, but COVID happened and going to the movies is
Hard.
I've still been, but yeah, I wasn't gonna go. What?
Tyler R watched it and really enjoyed it.
Awesome, good deal. I'm looking forward to it. I don't know if you know this, but I saw where Matt Damon and Sean Gunn are in Australia.
For why?
Which, here's the deal. Australia has a no visitor policy unless working.
Interesting.
New
Zealand's not letting anyone in.
And the only movie filming in Australia right now is Thor, the Dark World. Or not Dark World.
Matt Damon was in Thor.
Yes, playing Loki.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Matt Damon, I don't know, is he reprising Thor it's called Love and Thunder? Yeah, Thor Love and Thunder, I think is the next one.
Which sounds like a ridiculous...
It's going to be crazy.
It's just going to be silly and I'm excited about it.
Well,
that's fun.
It's Ty Waititi or whatever. I never pronounce his name right. Sorry, it's not impersonal. But he's directing it, I think, again. So I'm for it. But when I saw that Matt Damon was in Australia and everybody's like, oh, maybe he really does have a real part in this movie.
That's funny.
Yeah.
The Kingsman movie.
Yeah.
Like the prequel to the Kingsman movies, which we both love. It never came out. It was originally slated for November of 2019 and then got pushed back. And then COVID happened and it got pushed back. And it was supposed to come out in April, but Disney has pushed it back again. So it is coming out August 20th.
Wait, that's by Disney?
2021. It's not. It's by 20th Century Fox. But doesn't Disney own 20th Century Fox? Mm-hmm. And so Disney is like, this doesn't fit what we want. And we're pushing it back again. So it will be almost 2 years since this movie is slated to come out. And I have been stoked about it since I first saw the trailer. I'm excited about it.
Here's something interesting about the whole entire thing with these movie studios pushing everything back and changing the way they do movies now. Of course, we all know what Warner Brothers has done with the HBO Max.
Which is wise, I think.
Now, though, Christopher Nolan, who has done all the Batman movies, Tenet, all these movies on Warner Brothers, says, I'm done with Warner Brothers. Really? He's leaving Warner, because he doesn't like the way they're distributing the movies. He doesn't approve. Well, Tenet came out, didn't make the money they wanted it to make. Nathan and I saw it. It was a great movie, and we were the only two there because of the COVID. Nobody wants the COVID. Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Yes. So yeah. Magic the Gathering is getting a comic book.
No way.
Boom Studios in April.
We like Boom Studios. We've read a couple of those in the podcast. I have enjoyed the ones that I've read by them.
Yeah. So
interesting.
I'm gonna have to. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. They've done comics in the past that really haven't been. They were okay, but this is going to be done by a guy named Jed McCay, who
I don't know if I know him.
Oh, I've talked highly about the Black Cat series. He writes that.
Inkblot?
No. Black Cat, the character from Spider-Man. Not Inkblot, which is literally the Black Cat. Yes. No, he also did a mini series with Peter Porker, the Spider-Ham. And he also did a series with Antman, which was really good. So he's got some humor in it. He's really, I just love his stories, the way he writes. So, yeah.
Sally mentioned that Nathan is going to love that.
I've already talked, and our son Nate is a huge Magic the Gathering.
Your son, my little brother.
Yeah. And he also did our art. Shout out.
Yes, Nate, for the art. Thanks for doing our art, bud.
And so I've already talked to him about it. I'm gonna get 2 copies of this comic book.
One for him, one for you.
Yeah.
Speaking of things that aren't usually in that specific medium, there is a possible D&D movie that's going to be coming out starring Chris Pine.
I've seen that. I honestly feel bad that I don't know anything about Dungeons and Dragons.
Dad, Dungeons and Dragons is so cool.
Okay.
If anybody out there is like, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
If anybody out there is like, yo, Hannah, you want to do a Dungeons and Dragons campaign with us? I'm so there. I have all of the books and everything, but I have no one to play it with.
Growing up, I always wanted to do it, but some people saw it as not
satanic.
Yeah, well, just come right out and say it.
I mean,
yeah, that's what they saw it as. And I know it's not that. But and you can find good in anything if you look for it. You just have to open your eyes.
Yeah.
And I always wanted to play, and I'm envious of those who still play and do play. But right now I just don't have time to play it. But I am excited to go see it, and I want to go see it with people who play it so that I can see them be excited.
I am curious about formatting, because a lot of Dungeons and Dragons is like a role play element and a chance element, because there is a dungeon master who is like doing everything, is doing all of the non-player characters or NPCs, and then the player characters or the PCs are the people who are like going about in the world. So I'm curious if it's going to be like, if there's going to be a narrator, and then that person is the dungeon master and is kind of explaining what's happening, and then you see people roll dice, because depending on how well you roll things is how well whatever it is you're trying to do succeeds.
I vaguely remember a movie back when long time ago, before you were born, where it was a Dungeons and Dragon movie. And basically the people who play Dungeons and Dragons got sucked into something and they took on the role of their characters.
Like a Jumanji type thing.
Yeah, sort of like that. But it wasn't funny. It was scary.
Well, some of them, it depends on the campaign, right? And depends on the dungeon master and the vibe of the people playing.
Yeah. Roll a 1. Oops. Oh, my bad. Explain what that means, Hannah, to the people who don't do Dungeons and Dragons. Critical failure.
Is a crit fail. So if you...
and the best is a nat 20, which is a natural 20 roll of the die.
And that means you succeed. But if you are saying, I'm going to fly, and you don't have the ability to fly, and you roll a nat 20, it doesn't mean you can fly. Yeah. It means that you don't die when you
attempt to
plummet towards the earth.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's not like
plenty of other podcasts out there that talk about Dungeons and Dragons.
Or who play Dungeons and Dragons. If that's something you're interested in, there are so many excellent ones that you can watch.
That's not us. We're just here for the news. BTW, did you know they're making a Peter Pan and Wendy live action movie?
Really?
And Jim Gaffigan, one of my favorite comedians, is Mr. Smee.
Oh,
Mr. Smee.
Yes. I was going to say,
how great is that?
He's a weird hook, but okay.
No, Mr. Smee.
Oh, that's perfect.
So that is so funny. I'm psyched for that.
Okay, my last piece of news.
Okay, and then I've got one thing too.
Okay, The Muppet Show is coming to Disney Plus in February.
I saw that. Now, is this the Muppet Show that came out like a couple years ago, or is this the Muppet Show that came out when I was a kid?
Don't know.
I hope it's the one when I was a kid.
I hope it's the one when you were a kid.
Because we're talking Crocodile Rock,
Rainbow Connection.
All of that. I mean, all those people on there, the great stars from then. I really hope that's it, because I will watch them, every one. That was like the only time I got to watch a show I wanted to watch as a kid. I guess because my dad and mom liked it too. So that ought to tell you something. Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
It was either that or
wrestling.
Well, I loved wrestling. No, I was thinking like Lawrence Welk or something terrible.
The Lawrence Welk Show.
Yes.
All I know about that's from SNL.
Okay, so listen, my final bit of news. There are two cool trailers that came out. Both of them are for adults only. So one is Boss Level, that stars Frank Grillo. Everybody knows him as Crossbones from the Marvel movies, and Mel Gibson.
Or the guy from the Purge films.
Oh, I never watched those. So
he goes hard in the Purge films. Not the first one, but the second two.
Gotcha. So anyway, it's all about this guy keep getting knocked off by the boss, who is Mel Gibson, and he has to fight the boss level, basically, in real life.
To save his lady love.
To save his, I guess, who knows. But the thing I'm most excited for, even though I don't watch rated R movies.
You're not a horror film kind of guy.
I'm not. This is the most talented actor of my generation is starring in this film. Nicolas Cage has a movie out called Willy's Wonderland, where his car breaks down, blows a tire, and the guy says if he spends the night cleaning Willy's Wonderland, which is like a nasty looking Chuck E. Cheese Showbiz Pizza thing.
Discount Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah, it looked pretty bad. If he spends the night cleaning that up, then he'll fix his car for free. And of course, teenagers show up. This place has a terrible history of disappearing people, and
this is a trap.
Yes, and the thing about it is that at one point in the trailer, you've got to go watch it, and it's only for adults. Again, he is mopping, and one of these crazy creatures comes up behind him, and he turns around and looks at it, and the creature like lunges towards him, and he takes that mop, breaks the mop over his hand, and just starts wailing on the animatronic.
It's okay. So it's a place. It's very, if you know of this, it's very Five Nights at Freddy's.
I don't know.
Five Nights at Freddy's is a video game. And Five Nights at Freddy's is a video game that you can play. I've never played it. When I play video games, I play Animal Crossing or
Gotcha.
Link's
I
Awakening.
don't play I
don't play these types of
Mario
games. But
Kart.
Markiplier plays Five Nights at Freddy's. And when I was in college, one of my roommates, her boyfriend would come over. They're married now.
Okay.
And they would watch him play. So it's like you go to this place, you go to Freddy's, which is like Willy's Wonderland, which is like Chuck E. Cheese.
Willy's Wonderland.
And Daddy. And you what I meant. You have a couple so the animatronics come to life and they try to get you. They try to kill you, basically. There's no way to sugarcoat that. They try to get you.
Yeah.
And that's what happens in Willy's Wonderland, that these animatronics come to life and they like try to get Nick
but the
Cage.
girl's like, they think he's locked in there with them, but they're locked in there with him. But it is Nicolas Cage in that trailer doing Nicolas Cage to his best. And do you know what I realized? He never speaks.
He doesn't. He speaks once at the very end.
No, he doesn't.
He says it's not him moving his mouth, but it's like him. I thought it was Nick Cage, but it was like him like thinking or something.
I hope
him saying like, I hardly ever speak or something like that in the thing.
Oh, I hope he never speaks in the entire movie because it is so, I mean, it's funny and it's
coming on demand.
February 12th.
On demand on February 12th, which is good because I don't watch spooky things in the theaters. I went and saw A Quiet Place in the movie theater, and that's as spooky as I get.
I don't see spooky stuff, period. All right. Well, that's all I got for nerd news.
Yeah.
Let's hit
my Post-it notes clear gone.
All right. Fantastic.
That made no sense.
Hannah, explain to people what a pull list is.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about Dad's pull list. So what a pull list is if you have a local comic book store, the proprietor? I said that right. The proprietor of the local comic book store, if you are well acquainted with them and they appreciate you and your business, will hold things from their stash. They will pull from their inventory what you would like. If they know that you're collecting a certain thing, or maybe they don't, maybe they're like, hey, I think that Todd would like this. And so I'm going to save it for him to see if he would like it before putting it out. That way, what you want at the comic book store is saved when you go to the comic book store.
Yeah.
Dad,
so
what have you pulled for us today?
Today, we're still in the throes of DC Future State. I got several books. I got the next issue of the next Batman. It was okay. I got another Wonder Woman called Immortal Wonder Woman. It was okay. I got Catwoman and Nightwing. Both of those books, 2 thumbs up. The whole entire thing about the DC Future State is Batman is gone. They think he's dead. Catwoman, a lot of the people who are against the Magistrate, who's trying to take over Gotham with his peacekeepers or her peacekeepers. It's like becoming a police state, basically. And there's a thing to get rid of all the masks, which we all wish we could get rid of our masks. More ways than one. And so they're taking all these dissidents to a re-education facility.
Hate that. Don't like the sound of that in any way, shape, or form.
So Catwoman and her little crew is going to not just save the people. She's a cat burglar. She's going to steal the train.
Of course she is.
And it's really good. And the thing about it is that there are some people on there that are really pretty bad villains. So she's like, well, if I can like unleash a villain or two to help me take the train,
But who would you pick?
well, it doesn't matter because the villain that's on there is a villain called Onomatopoeia. Yes,
Crash, boom, snap.
exactly. That's exactly what he says. That's all he says. And
That's awesome.
and then they
That
get to
makes
the
me
final.
happy.
They get to the final car, and there's someone there chained up. I'm not.
Oh
gonna,
no, who is it?
Not going to give it away.
Dad.
It is my that'd be my DC future state pick of the week. Is the
Okay,
Catwoman.
Catwoman. Okay, good to know.
Nightwing is really good.
Okay.
Of course, Nightwing is the original original Robin.
Yes.
And he is being tracked by the magistrate, and they tag him with a nano something so that they can track him back to his lair. The new Batman shows up, confronts Nightwing, and now Nightwing is actually in the basement of Arkham Asylum. That is his new.
Oh.
Yeah, there's no Arkham there. There's nobody there. It's completely nobody lives there. It's all been emptied. But while Batman, the new Batman and Nightwing are basically having a come to Jesus moment, all of his, his TV cameras go crazy because they've tracked him back to where he came. And Batman's like, I can't believe you let them track you back. And he goes, they tagged me with a nano, blah, blah, blah. I brought them here on purpose. I'm tired of running. So,
bum, bum, bum.
Yeah. So Nightwing was really good. Something that I wanted to talk about is a book that is now a TV series on Sci-Fi called Resident Alien.
I've heard of this.
Yeah, it's starring Alan Tudyk. What happens is basically
I like him.
An alien crashes on Earth. He's stuck there he's being tracked by something, and he's a doctor in this little town that people don't see him as an alien. It's interesting how they draw him in the book.
They like can't recognize he's an alien, or they're just
he looks like you and me.
Guy who does the doctor stuff.
He's just a doctor, looks like you and me. However, they draw him in the comic book as an alien. So we see him as an alien, but everyone else does not. Except
That's so fun.
A little kid drew a picture of him as an alien, and he has it hanging up in his office. So I don't know, but
kids can see him, but adults can't.
Don't know the answer.
Because they believe in the magic, and children believe in the magic, and adults can't see.
I got the first 2 issues of the new run on it called Alien Resident or Resident Alien. Your ride's here, and it really, you would think it's funny, but it's just seems sad. It's not. It's not sad. It's just like every day. It's like everyday life. He's in everyday life. And now someone has come to the town that is trying to find the alien. And that's where we are on issue 2. Ooh. There for a second, I thought, I don't think I'm going to get the rest of them. But the more I read it, the more I thought about it, I think I will. Because I think it's just like a 5 or 6 issue.
Okay.
And I got the first 2 issues. So.
Gotcha.
Yeah, Resident Alien. It's going to be on Sci-Fi. It's an original series on Sci-Fi. It's been out for a while.
We like original Sci-Fi series. Remember Alphas?
What channel was that on?
That was Sci-Fi.
Oh, I loved Alphas.
That was an OG Sci-Fi thing.
Yeah.
It got canceled. It got canceled after 2 seasons. But that first season of Alphas was chef's kiss.
I love that. Yeah, chef's kiss. You're hilarious.
It was chef's kiss, Dad.
I got you. So Marvel has a new book out called Iron Fist, Heart of the Dragon. So they're bringing Iron Fist back after the terrible debacle on Netflix for the TV show.
Didn't watch it.
Yeah, it wasn't that great.
Okay, well, good. Didn't miss it.
But this comic book I really like. The author is Larry Hama. The thing I remember about him is he wrote all the G.I. Joe books when I grew up. Oh, that's
dope.
And didn't know this, he's a Vietnam veteran. So
that's cool.
When my dad was in Vietnam, so was he.
Interesting.
Yeah. Interesting. So this is an interesting story with Iron Fist. It has Luke Cage. There's this little girl who's got a little dragon, and then there's this other guy that like
a
carries
dragon,
all this,
like an actual dragon.
An actual dragon.
That's cool.
And I think these the bad guys are trying to steal the hearts of all the dragons, and I thought I'm not going to like this, but it's the story is sort of out there, and I'm enjoying it, and I look forward to what's going to happen next. So I didn't think I would collect an Iron Fist comic book, but it looks like I will go with the next issue of that.
Dad.
What?
Uncle Troy is watching.
Awesome. Troy rocks. The one that just ended this week was Deceased
Wait,
Dead
ended?
Planet. Ended. Deceased Dead Planet. So it was a 7-issue run.
You've liked that one.
Deceased, yeah. So there was Deceased, which was like 5 issues.
Oh, different.
And then they had Deceased A Good Day to Die, which was a one shot. Then they had Deceased Unkillables, which was 3.
We talked about that. That was the one where the world was kind of going.
It's the same way. This is Deceased Dead Planet, and it sort of resolves the whole deceased thing. Cool. So this is one of my favorite books. If you get a chance, go back and read. I'm telling everybody to go back and read Deceased.
Is there a trade paperback?
There is a trade hardback, and as soon as the January spending freezes up, I'm going to buy that for you.
Okay, dope.
So that you can read, and we will talk about the first Deceased.
Cool.
Because you gotta read that in order to enjoy the end. So, yeah. But
don't spoil it then, because I want to.
I'm not going to spoil
surprised,
it.
But you've enjoyed it.
Just ended, so I'm sure that they will be collecting the Deceased Dead Planet sometime soon.
Well, I'm good. I'm good. Well, good, Dad. I'm glad that you enjoyed it.
Yeah. So that was it for my pull list.
That's not true. But we're going to talk about this other comic before we talk about the other one in your pull list.
What is the other comic?
The Homesick Pilots.
Oh, that was the last one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Hannah read Homesick Pilots. Homesick Pilots is a comic book put out by Image.
Which I'm here for. We've read, is God Country Marvel?
Nope. That's Image.
I'm here for their vibe, Image. Dad.
Yeah. Well, it's like independent creators who
I didn't notice. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No. Image was made by the people who got disenfranchised with Marvel and DC back in the 90s, and they left and created their own, which is Spawn was the big one that was created from that, Savage Dragon, a whole there's like a myriad of them. But the imprint is still alive today, and many of those people who left Marvel and DC are still on the creative staff. That's and still awesome. Create books. Yeah.
That's so cool.
So Homesick Pilots takes place in the early 90s.
94.
94. And
in summer.
Somebody said, boy, that sounds like a good name for a band, Homesick Pilots. Guess what? It
is.
It's a punk rock band put together by 3 kids in high school.
It seems like
and they're orphans.
On cues that they're all in the foster care system.
Yes. Or orphans of something like that.
Well, yeah, because they're talking about like that. Oh yeah, I was in a home with that kid, and then this, like, yeah, when I show up, I'm gonna show up late, and they're gonna kick me out or whatever.
Yeah. So this is an M for Mature comic book, although it's not too bad. I mean, it's not.
They're not hiding like big curse words.
No.
Like it's not like if you read a Marvel comic book, it'll have like exclamation mark, @ question star. To me, like a curse word, but this is like, oh no. This is
basically a horror comic book.
Mm-hmm.
Set with a little bit of it's sort of a fun vibe, teen angst. Yeah. So
the art is very interesting. It's not okay. So I'll explain what happens. There, our main character. Do we know her name? Annie? Allie? Abby? Shoot, y'all. I'm so sorry. Oh, they say.
I think it's Amy.
Yeah, it's Amy.
I'm not 100%.
It's Amy.
Yeah, Amy. Yeah,
her name. So the main character.
And one guy's name's Rip, and the other guy.
Don't know.
I can't remember his name. Rip. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. So they're in a band together. Their band is called the Homesick Pilots. They're a punk band, and they have a rival band. Am I allowed to say that word?
No.
Okay.
It's called Nuclear something. But anyway.
Yeah. And so their rival band and them are like fighting, and they
they're not like because
they're rival bands.
They each want to have a band. They be the punkest because it is punk, and they want to be at the punkest place they can be to have their show.
Yeah, so they were at an abandoned bowling alley. The cops come, and then they're like, hey, we should have our concert at that abandoned haunted house on the top of the hill. And then one of the kids is like, well, one of the guys in the band is like, well, there was this guy at this foster care placement that I was at who was there before I was there, and he went there and he said that the house liked him, and he just wandered the house for weeks before the house let him leave, and then he passed away because he didn't have any food while he was in the house. So they like, there's this like horror story about what happened while they're in the house.
Rip, Buzz, and Amy.
And then Amy's like, forget it, I'm gonna go check it out because it was my idea and I want to go there anyways. And so Amy shows up and the house.
The coolest thing, the big picture in the middle of the book, is you see the insides of the house with the one band coming in one side and the Homesick Pilots sneaking in from the other side.
Yeah, so
and
it's
they
like
meet in the middle.
So how you read it? I thought that was weird at first because I was reading from top, like how you usually read, and then I saw, oh no, wait, I need to go top, and then I started in the middle and was like, oh no, it's wrong, and then I started at the bottom. So it like snakes.
Right.
That was really fun. And then it's like a horror house. So like if you've seen, I don't watch horror. Yeah.
Here's the deal. So Buzz and Rip from Homesick Pilots get out. Amy gets stuck inside, and everybody from the other rival, they don't make it out.
They don't make it out of the house. And then at the very end, you see Amy, and she has white hair and is wearing a different outfit and says, I don't know if you realize this, but the horseshoe is like extremely haunted, and the house would very much like its ghosts back.
And that is where the next
ransacked.
That's where the next episode takes place, which I believe
Dad, you're copying me.
I did it. You know, issue takes place. Issue 2 starts with her going to get the horseshoe, and it's like, hey, are you a ghost? Are you dead? And she goes, no, I just look a little ghosty around the edges or something like that. But so yes, pieces from the house have disappeared apparently.
Well, it's been ransacked. Well, if you reread the part where it's like one full page, they're talking about like who steals a toilet. This town has some weird squatters. The whole place has been cleaned out. Wonder if any of it actually is worth anything.
So the second episode / issue is her getting the horseshoe back, which you then come to find out that there are 7 ghosts that have left the house.
Oh no.
And she goes and gets the horseshoe. And that book is sort of sad. A horseshoe is good luck. But can you imagine having good luck all your life?
No, that would suck.
The girl at one point said, I never get caught in the rain. She goes, I don't know the last time I ever stood out in the rain. She's like sad because she's stuck with this horseshoe. Like
the woman who had the horseshoe? Like the famous lady who's putting on her lipstick?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. She's like, it has a very sad ending, actually. It also, the next issue also goes back into the past and sees what's happened with Rip and Buzz, because they're like, listen, we got to get the cops. And they're like, cops, are you kidding me? So they go to try to flag down the cops. And of course, it's the cop that one of them
kicked in the face.
Yes. So he's like, we need to get cops or holy water or something for this place,
Yikes.
Yeah. So what do you think about it?
I really enjoyed it. This is like a vibe that I'm into. Like, I like the color scheme is like purples and blues and
a lot of purples.
Pinks. And it very much is, I don't know. I like that they're teenagers, and I like that they are just like teenagers who kind of like do their own thing. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. It's very much like an era that I understand.
Gotcha.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's really funny. In the second issue, they talk about, you see how the 3 met at the beginning.
Oh, sweet.
And the one guy is telling her, she's like, she likes the Ramones. And the guy's like, the Ramones suck. Buy at BTW for the Ramones. I saw them on my 21st birthday live in Louisville.
Dad.
That was so funny.
Dad, it's so funny that you just said that. Uncle Troy just texted, and the Ramones show up and kick all their butts.
The Ramones are mentioned in
That's
in the
bonkers.
second issue. Yes, that is so funny. He's like, they suck. And they're like, no, they don't. And then she's like, I know, they don't really. I just wanted to say that,
That's
Yeah.
funny.
So there you go.
I really enjoyed it. I want to finish. It's one of the comics that don't think that this is something that's going to be continuing for forever and ever, like Spider-Man or something like that. Like, I'm imagining that this...
I'm imagining after she gets all the ghosts,
something's going to happen. At the very beginning of the issue, there's like a prologue, and the house stands up.
Yes.
And starts like running.
Yes, it's weird.
And I think it's a prologue. Like, I think it's like a flash forward about something that's going to happen later on.
Gotcha.
Because you can see she's the person.
Yes. Oh, gotcha. Yes.
So I think that's like a flash forward.
I didn't put that together. Hannah's showing me something, and we all know that this is an auditory medium. So,
but there's a couple panels in the comic book where the house is standing up like a Power Ranger and like
we'll put a picture of that. We'll put a picture of that.
And then it's her, and then her, and then her, like her face.
Gotcha.
So I think that was a flash forward, like prologue.
Maybe it's a Transformer crossover. I don't think so.
Robots in disguise. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed it. I just noticed on the back that it has like that they've like stamped on it, and then it's like this is backwards and stuff like that.
Yes, it has the other band's name on the back. They get a shout out on the back of the comic book.
It's like graffiti or something like that.
Right. Yeah. So that's it for the pull list.
Yeah.
Hannah and I watched a movie.
It's one of my favorite movies in the entire world. Spoilers. We're going to talk all about it.
Called Arrival.
Chris S. says it's a great movie. I agree. It's one of my favorite movies in the entire world.
Why do you like the movie, Hannah?
See,
Let me give the lowdown.
Yeah, give us the lowdown. Spoilers.
Arrival.
If you haven't watched it,
I don't know where you've been, because it was
and go
made
watch
in 2016. You've been living under a ledge. Yeah, 4 years.
Okay, I don't feel bad about talking about it then.
No. So what happens is aliens come to Earth in 12 different locations, and the issue is we can't understand them. They can't understand us. So the one that lands in the United States lands in Montana, and they get a linguist,
theoretical physicist, and a linguist
to go and try to make contact, to understand what they're doing. What happens is that you can go up into this ship every 18 hours. For a certain amount of time. They explain it as basically they have to make a habitable space for us and clear out the gunk for them. So
like atmosphere,
it takes that long to clean the atmosphere or whatever. So Amy Adams is the linguist, and Jeremy Renner.
Her name is Louise.
And Jeremy Renner is the whatever you call him.
Theoretical physicist. He is Ian. Louise and Ian.
Louise. And they are recruited by Forrest Whitaker, who is the general on site for the United States government.
They just call him, he has a name, but they just call him Colonel.
Colonel, yes. And so that's what happens. They try to crack the code of what is being spoken. Why are they there? The thing is the Colonel wants them to find, the question they want them to answer is, what is your purpose here? What do we share our information with people from countries that have different philosophies from ours? And it deals with that as well, with the political upheaval, which is amazing because General Chang, which is in charge of China, who's played by Tai Mei, who is also Mulan's dad in the new live action film, he has very little to do in this movie, but is an extreme integral part. This movie won an Oscar for best sound editing. And if you watch it,
so good,
you will know why it won an Oscar.
It is so good. So I watched it with William. William's my boyfriend, and he's never seen it before. And he was like, Hannah, I am so uneasy. Like, I feel so anxious sitting here watching this movie. I'm like, you're supposed to feel like that.
Yeah.
Like the sound editing and the score for this film is phenomenal at putting you in the mood like
it's sort of melancholy.
It's sad. It's sad music, and it's eerie music. Like the sounds that the aliens make
Yeah.
are weird.
Heptapods. They're heptapods.
They're called heptapods.
'cause that's
Something
how many feet they have.
you might not know about this, Dad,
What?
that I learned about this because, again, it's my favorite movie. This is based on an award-winning short film. Short story.
By Ted Chiang.
It's called Story of Your Life, and it was published in 1998.
Yeah, I tried to see if that guy had a Twitter account and couldn't find it. I was going to add him, but I didn't.
But yeah, it's so good. The way that they set up this film is just phenomenal, and it's such a trippy movie if you haven't seen it. It's very much
Well, Amy Adams.
Inception-esque.
Well, you don't know what is past, what's future, what's present. Basically, we're watching the film, seeing flashbacks.
But you don't know they're flashbacks. No,
But they're not.
they're flashbacks.
We think they're flashbacks for Amy Adams's character.
She had a daughter, was married.
Was married, had a daughter.
her
The daughter
daughter
had some
died.
illness and died at a very young age.
And her and
I
her
would say
husband
probably her 15, maybe
15 or
14,
16.
15. Her husband and she are split up.
split up.
But what you come to find out is that the way that the aliens speak, they don't
Not they speak, the way that they write.
Their written language. So that's basically what happens is Amy Adams is saying, okay, well, we can't just learn how they speak. We have to see how they write, because that will solve different things.
Because what they say is not what they write.
Correct. And what is your purpose? So first we have to say, what does a purpose mean? Do they even have a purpose? They may be automatic and not even know what the word purpose means. So
What is a question?
What is a
How do you answer a question? The pronoun you, is it mean you, the person
or all
here,
of us,
or everyone?
or just the two people in your ship, or whatever?
Yeah.
So she begins to try to learn how they speak, and they like let out some ink from their heptapodness.
They have like
And it's-
feet. They have like feet that's like a hand. They walk like
Right.
this. And then their
But
hand
you can't say walk like this
opens.
because this is a podcast.
They have a, like, if you put your hand down.
It's like
think
if
that,
you
and
like
walk your
hung
hand
an
across
octopus.
yeah.
That's how they walk.
It's like their
Yes.
hand opens and becomes more
Yeah,
like
more-
tentacles, and then it goes. Psh,
it shoots out
It
ink
shoots
like
out
an
ink.
octopus,
yeah.
but then it forms in a circle, and that circle, it does form a circle.
No, I'm just thinking about us explaining this and giggling about it.
Yeah, anyway, so the circle is what they speak. They speak in a circular
Written.
language.
They
write.
They write.
Yes. Right. So anyway,
The way that Ian explains it is they write it's like writing with both hands, and you're writing a sentence with both hands. And if you're writing a sentence at both hands and meeting in the middle, you have to know exactly what you're going to say on both sides and how much room what you're going to write takes
Yes,
up
right.
while you're writing it. So what your brain is doing is like absurd.
Right. So they're writing, I keep saying, they're writing so much in just one sentence. And there's also a theory that as you immerse yourself in another language, you begin to think like that other
Think,
culture.
dream, understand.
Understand everything in that way. So what we come to find out is that the heptapods, they do not have the same concept of time as we do. They see everything at all times.
Everything in
Does that
their
make sense?
lifespan.
In their lifespan at all times. And that ends up happening to Amy Adams.
So she is imagining, she's not imagining, she's seeing moments in time that have not happened yet.
Yes.
And can act on the information that she has in the future in her present. Because she, like, one of the big plot points is that all of the countries, because there are 12 things all over the world, and all of the countries are like locked down towards the end and are afraid. Because that's
they
what
think
happens.
it's a weapon. They say
Yeah.
it's a weapon. They figure out that the aliens have come to give us a weapon.
And so everyone is like, oh, well, we got to hunker down and protect what we know when that happens.
So
she ends up, she uses knowledge that she gets in the future,
In the
once
future.
everything is fine, the leader of an army comes up to her and is like, you changed my mind. No one's ever done that before. This is what you said to me, and here's my phone number.
Do you know what she said?
No.
I looked
wanted
it up.
to know that. I wanted to know that because I was talking to William. I'm like, oh, I wish I could speak Mandarin.
It's something like in wars there are no winners, only widows.
Wow.
And that was that was his wife's dying words to the General Chang was, and she spoke those to him over the phone and changed his mind. And he then shared all of his information. And basically what it was they sent it to 12 different places so that we would all have to work together.
We'd all have to work together. And the whole thing is, hey, we're doing this for you now because in 3,000 years, we need you to help us.
We need your help. And
bonkers.
Yeah. So it is bonkers. The thing that got me when I was watching it was the fact that she's having a flashback, we think, with her daughter. And her daughter is like, what's that thing when there are two people and they do something and it's beneficial to both of them, but it doesn't hurt, or something like they can't win, but if they both do it together, they both win. What's that called? And she said, if you want something scientific, call your dad. She says that to her. And then during a briefing towards the end, Ian says it's a zero-sum
non-zero.
What's it called?
Non-zero sum game.
And then that was like, oh! And then you see her go back to that thought with her daughter, and she says it, non-zero sum game. And you're like, wait a minute. This hasn't happened yet.
Wild.
Yes.
And the first time her and Ian hug at the very end, do you know what she says?
Yes, he says something.
He gives her a hug. He says something very sweet and romantic that I thought was beautiful, and William made fun of me for crying at it. I've spent so much of my time staring at the stars. What didn't surprise me most was that they didn't surprise me most, but like you did. It's like a summary of it.
Understood. Yeah.
And she gives him a hug, and what she says is, I forgot how nice it was to be held by you.
Yes. So anyway,
this is so sad. It's such a good movie.
And there are a lot of things to be thought about in this movie. There are a lot of things we could get into philosophical discussions about this. Like, would I bring a child into the world knowing full well that it was going to suffer? And
or she or he.
He or she or whatever. And that was what drove Ian away, I think. You know, because he said you made the wrong choice or whatever.
Yeah, because she asks him if you could see everything that was going to happen in your life, would you change it? And he was like, I think I would say what I felt more. Yeah,
there you go.
Like, okay, very well.
Anyway, I give this 5 heptapod circles.
Yeah. Ugh, it's so good.
So I strongly recommend you people watch this. This is PG-13.
PG-13.
There is some
say
peril.
One big bad word, and there's some peril.
I didn't pay attention to it.
It's when they jump in and Ian looks back and is like, oh no.
Oh yes, I remember that. Yes.
They say one big bad, and then
we didn't say this. One of the cool things is they create names for the two aliens, and they call them Abbott and Costello, which I didn't even understand the significance of that until just this time. But it's a nod to who's on first.
Yeah.
The circular argument that has no end.
And miscommunication. Like one person is being very sure that they're explaining it exactly how they're supposed to be explaining it.
Exactly.
And the other party isn't getting it at all.
So the whole entire thing about them, the aliens being named Abbott and Costello, and if you've never watched the Who's on First,
you should. It's very funny.
You should have already seen that by now.
You can find
you
the
need
full.
to talk to your parents because they haven't.
You didn't show that to me.
Did you know it?
I mean, the only reason I know it is because the first time I watched this movie, the person I was watching the movie with was like, Hannah, you don't understand.
Oh, well, then you need to have a talk with your parents because they did a lousy job.
Well, Dad, you didn't. I can't even say it because it's not true.
Okay. Anyway, so that's that. We do not have an awful lot of time left, probably about 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
All right.
That's enough time.
That is enough time to blow everyone's Wanda mind.
Okay. Spoilers. Be done
Be
with our podcast if you haven't watched WandaVision episode.
Well, if you're going to do that, then here's the deal. Don't be done yet because I do want to let everybody know we are now on Apple Podcasts.
Yeah, we are.
Spotify.
Woo!
Google Podcast,
Woo-woo!
Amazon Podcast.
Yeah.
Didn't even know those existed, but we now on it. We hopefully will have music up on our doodad for our entry, made for us by Brockwell Mason. Check him out on Spotify. He's
he
under
has
an
some
artist.
good music.
Yeah, so there you go. And as always, who did our art?
Nathan. Thank you,
There
bud.
you go. Nathan
Appreciate
Turner.
you.
Now you can leave if you want to.
Okay, yes.
We're going to talk WandaVision.
We are.
All right.
So I have Post-it notes of notes.
All right.
Of questions that I have. And I know that you have news. So what do you want to do first?
Just give us the notes. I'm going to tell everybody at the end how they can forget everything we've said.
Okay, perfect.
And it's not Vulcan.
Glamour and illusion. Did they talk about that? I had written down glamour and illusion ? Never mind. I don't remember what that is. So all of the commercials, the first commercial was Stark. And then the second two commercials were Hydra.
Yes, I know. So there are, if you've not watched it, it's a show. The first one was very similar to I Love Lucy. The next one was more of a Bewitched. And this was more of a Partridge Family / Brady Bunch episode.
Yeah, kind of vibe.
And you're like watching a TV show, and in the middle there are advertisements. Commercials. And they are,
The first one was a Stark toaster. The second one was a
Hydra Strucker watch.
And then the third one was soap. So we have toast, watch, soap.
Yes. I don't know what that means. I'm sure there's something, but I don't get it. Anyway, what's going on, Hannah?
I thought so I have a lot of like individual little like things that I'm confused about. But
go.
So the For the Children thing.
For the Children. Yeah, that's creepy.
Was creepy as heck.
That's something they repeated at the second episode where they're like doing a magic show and For the Children. Yeah, I don't know what that means. Unless it's
unless it's like a look forward at the two twins that she has.
Or past with her brother, they were the only two children that lived through the experiments.
Yeah, so For the Children.
Her and her brother. So who knows what that means?
I wrote in all caps, what is the sound? Don't know what that means. I wrote these right after I finished the episode. So I literally have in all caps the first two. So it's the second one. I wrote, what is the sound?
Like the
thing when she's in there like, Wanda, can you read me? Wanda.
Oh yeah, because it's like, help me, Rhonda, help me, Wanda, who's doing this to you? Wanda, it's coming through the radio. But do you notice the same thing with last week and this week? She rewinds it back
twice. The first time in the second episode,
she goes, no.
She gets out and there's a guy in a bumblebee suit who has the symbol that's a circle with the sword in the middle of it. And I have symbol on the beekeeper ? It's also on the necklace in the third episode, and it's also on the red helicopter in the second episode. Dad's looking down. Do you know what that symbol is?
Yeah, it's now it's called the Sentient Weapon Observation and Response Division.
SHIELD.
It was part of SHIELD. Yeah.
Okay.
And actually, they've just started a new Sword comic book because it wasn't weapons observation. It had something to do with outer space originally. It was their thing for outer space issues. And that's what they're doing now in the comic book. But now in this one, it's called Sentient Weapon Observation and Response Division.
I literally wrote, she just rewinds? What? With a lot of question marks. So the first time the beekeeper comes up, bees are completely surrounding the beekeeper. She goes, no, rewinds. And before she rewinds, it is, she's not pregnant. But when she rewinds, she's is pregnant.
Right.
And then Vision goes out in the second episode. Vision goes out and
he's talking to
Herb.
And Agnes.
No, first time he's just talking to Herb, and Herb is like doing the bushes.
He's cutting
through a concrete wall.
What the heck is that even about?
And then he's like, "Are you good?" And he's like, "I'm fine," and is like still cutting through the wall.
Something's not right.
Holy crap! And he goes back into the house and is like, "Wanda, I just saw this," and she is like...
She booted Geraldine. That was the issue. Geraldine, the African
Wait,
American
but she doesn't
girl,
rewind. She doesn't rewind until after. She rewinds
Right.
before she boots out Geraldine.
Gotcha.
So
yeah, she rewinds Vision this time.
she rewinds Vision and
Yeah.
has him say something different. My
Right.
thought about this is that she had the babies that quickly, to keep him from thinking and seeing everything else that was happening.
Well, in the comic book, the babies, the twins, Tommy and Billy, they really do have children, but you come to find out that the children were just her manifestations of her magic from parts of Mephisto. Mephisto was basically created by Marvel to be Satan, but they couldn't call him Satan because of the comics code back then. So they said, well, this guy's got horns and he's red and he lives in a lake of fire, but we're going to call him Mephisto because we can get away with it with
silly.
the comic code. So she basically created her twins out of magic from pieces of Satan.
Hate that.
So, and
hate it.
You come to find out that she doesn't even realize it. And in the comic book West Coast Avengers, the children are reverted back. They're basically wiped out of existence. And Agatha Harkness, who I believe is Agnes, Agatha Harkness is Marvel's ultimate witch, basically.
Really? I thought that was Scarlet Witch.
No, Agatha Harkness was actually, she was babysat the twins and everything. She has like a cat the whole time with her. So I believe Agnes is Agatha Harkness, who's basically the most powerful witch in Marvel. And that's who taught Scarlet Witch how to do her witchcraft stuff or whatever.
Interesting.
And so what happened was Agatha Harkness then does magickery on Scarlet Witch's mind and makes her forget she even had children in the comic book. So I believe Agnes is Agatha Harkness.
And you think she's in charge of the simulation, or
Wanda
is in charge of the simulation?
I don't know if it's a simulation at all. Because go ahead.
Okay. It seemed to me very Under the Dome type shenanigans.
Yes. Sort of like a Truman Show type thing.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I think Scarlet Witch has created
shimmery.
This.
It's shimmery.
I think she created it.
But people are in there who just have to act a certain way and pretend.
No, I think Geraldine was sent in. Maybe not. Could be wrong. Geraldine, do we know who she is?
You think that she's...
Oh, I don't think I know who she is.
She's Photon.
She is Photon, Monica Rambeau, the daughter of Captain Marvel's best friend. She was in the Captain Marvel movie as a little girl. But now this is like, whatever, 20 years, 25 years later down the road. So I believe she works for S.W.O.R.D. And
which is S.H.I.E.L.D.
Which is a part of, S.H.I.E.L.D. doesn't exist anymore in the Marvel universe, right?
So maybe S.W.O.R.D. is the new S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Who knows? But anyway, I don't know. I don't know what to think. I just know that a lot of people were like going, I watched episodes 1 and 2, and I don't know if I'm going to watch anymore.
You should watch episode 3, shoot dang.
Because it doesn't, at the end of episode 3, if that doesn't get you hooked, I don't know what will.
Something that I saw on TikTok and then had to go back and fact check because I didn't know if it was true or not. At the end, so if you watch the first Endgame trailer, there are parts of it that are full color, and then there are parts that are black and white. And in all of the black and white parts, the only thing that is color is the color red.
Really? Well,
the only thing. So if you go back and watch it, Tony Stark's helmet is red, and when you go into Asgard, the flags that are flying are red, and when you see Falcon turn into dust, his goggles are red, and Captain America's hand gloves are red, and everything else just fades. So I'm curious if that and this, if it means something. You know what I mean?
Scarlet Witch in the comic books is like an Omega level, it's one of the most powerful mutants there is. She rewrites Marvel history in House of M. So her thing in the comic was her ability to bend reality, to change reality.
Yeah.
And
that was same for the movies too, right? So she could, like, she made everyone see something in Ultron.
Exactly. So, yeah, I don't know what's real. I don't know what's not real. I love it.
Dad,
What? You can whisper. What?
Dad, what if Thanos never happened?
I believe he happened. It happened. Yeah. But I think what happened at the end of Thanos with it's what happens at the end of, because she's in the comic book, she's so mentally unstable. She goes bonkers multiple times. Vision is brought back, but he has no feelings.
He's a robot.
Well, he's an android anyway, but he comes
but he's
back
straight up robot man.
Yeah, no feelings, and she can't handle that. And
I mean, who could? Are you kidding?
I know. I love Paul Bettany in this. He is so, I mean, this is fun.
Hysterical in this.
Okay, the TV show is funny, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, this is uncomfortable.
The thing, see, I wanted to mention that as well. So I don't like the black and white era sitcoms. I don't like them. Like, I love Lucy, stuff like that. I just become so uncomfortable because
of the way that, like, the housewife, typical housewife.
Not trope. Even that, but it's like that everything goes wrong and nothing can go right, and what's going to happen, and then I just have so much like anxiety in
like
my
the Vision
own heart
chewing bubble gum.
Them. Like, yeah, I'm like, oh, stop, and I hate it. I don't like it. It makes me uncomfy. With the added element of what the heck is going on.
Yeah, it makes
me even more uncomfy.
In the first episode, when they're at the dinner and the guy's choking and they're just sort of looking at him.
And
but they're looking at him for a while, though. It's like, this guy's going to die.
And the wife is just laughing. And then she's just staring at him. She's like, Vision, save him.
Save him.
And I'm like,
I was like, this is just, and then everything's fine.
No. And then they're like, thank you so much. And then she does like this to her.
Yeah. And in the second episode, the woman squeezes the glass and it cuts her hand. And she's like,
and bleeding and it's red.
And it's like, then it's all okay.
For the children.
Yes. I was like,
what? And then him like swallowing gum and her having to like use her magic to like save.
To get the gum out because the gum. But the humor, I'm enjoying the humor. And the supporting cast, I like the supporting cast. Even the guy, I wore a turtleneck. I thought he's hilarious.
I thought it was really funny. Did that one guy...
Beatnik, Enthusiasm, I wore a turtleneck.
The guy who, I think the guy with the mustache, he like mentions that he's like a Russian spy or something.
Yes, and he's like...
And then completely changes the subject.
Because I'm like, he probably is a Russian spy. Yes. So wait a minute. Is he a Russian spy? But that is right in the middle of the Red Scare, when they were like, McCarthyism was really big during that time. So what was this? Yeah. Anyway.
He was like, well, have we talked about how he's a Russian spy? And I'm like,
you're hilarious.
So for me, it was like hard to get through the first 2 episodes. And
but now it's
the only reason I watched the 3rd episode was because I knew I watched it just before we got on, because I knew that we were going to talk about it today. And I will be more excited to watch the next couple episodes.
Yes, but it's still nervous. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. And here's the deal. I feel emotionally invested in these characters. I mean, Wanda and Vision, because I loved Vision. I had the first appearance of Vision in Avengers. I had that comic book. He was one of I have a picture that's been drawn that was for me, that was given to me by a friend of of the family, by somebody I follow on Instagram.
I didn't know that.
Vision. Yeah, I have it. And so, yeah, this is before it was cool to like Vision. And Paul Bettany's character of him is really good.
He does a good job.
So, yeah, I could sit there watching. I went, do you realize this girl's the sister of the Olsen twins?
Did Mom not know that?
I'm sure she did. Yes. Yeah. But anyway,
I don't know. I'm excited about it. I'm excited to figure out what happens. Do you know what I'm most excited about?
What?
I am most excited about when it's over and I can rewatch it and see how it all connects together better.
Yeah, here's the deal. If you really want a good thing to read about the Vision, Tom King, um, a writer, put out a 12-issue miniseries called Vision in the 2000s, and it follows Vision creating. He created a wife and 2.5 kids, and they lived at 2,800,
Hmm.
the same house number, and everything was all cool until a human dies.
Oh, you mentioned that last week.
Yeah, so I would suggest reading that.
Okay.
Um, Read the first 4-issue Vision Scarlet Witch miniseries if you get a chance. It's
It's
really pretty good.
cute.
But it is a product of its time. It will give you a little bit of a history of his family dynamics
And some
and her
nostalgia.
family dynamics and some nostalgia.
And
They
some
do have a
nostalgia for
Vision
the
Scarlet
old.
Witch 12-issue miniseries where she has the children.
Hmm.
Um, and then there's a run in West Coast Avengers where the kids are, wait a minute, they're not real. And then Agatha Harkness erases her memory. So if you don't want to know anything about what we talked about now, just go back and ask Agatha Harkness to erase your memory, and then you can start over again. Or we could use that zappy thing from Men in Black.
Everyone look at the flash. Click. The first
right.
time that, yes.
It was gas over, somebody hit a gas pocket. Anyway, that's all I've got.
It was so
Thank you,
good.
peeps, for joining
Yes.
us,
Thanks
for
for
being
joining us, sweet friends. As
part
usual,
of our podcast.
our art is created by Nathan Turner. And for the first time ever, you have heard
Music.
our music. Thank you, Brockwell. You can check out him at Brockwell Nason on Spotify.
Yes.
He has a new single that came out called Thanks to the Bad Boys, and it's actually really
So,
cute. So
there you
take a
go.
listen to that. Next week,
Follow, share. I guess that's a thing.
subscribe to our podcast, please.
Yeah. Although it's not
love
going to
that.
change how we do anything, is it?
Well, no, but it would be fun if more
It
people
would be
listened, not
fun.
just us.
That's exactly right. We would love to hear
Because
from you.
We're fun.
We are. Basically, we started this as a journey. We didn't know what we were doing. We still are learning as we go.
Yeah.
This is a way for Hannah and I to connect and talk to one another about things we love. And
Indeed.
the issue is that I couldn't find anything on the interwebs that didn't use the F word every 7 seconds. There is some, but it's hard to find. So we just thought, it's Corvid. Let's talk to one another about the things we love and put a positive light and something that you can
Yes.
play in the background and not worry about your kids walking in while you listen to it.
Indeed.
Or some children, not necessarily your kids, any children.
Well, thank you so much for listening, sweet friends. Next week, we'll have more news for you. We'll read a comic book, most likely. We'll definitely talk about a movie and probably the newest episode of WandaVision because it's about
And
to
what
get
we're
spicy.
binging because we didn't do it.
Oh, Big Bang Theory.
Batman animated series. It is the best animated comic book adaptation I've ever seen in my life. I can't believe I never saw it in 1992. Anyway, there you go. We'll talk more about that next week.
Yes. Okay. Well,
All right,
thanks
we
for
love you
listening,
guys.
sweet friends. We'll talk to you later, Gator.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Dad, do you want to say bye to all our friends on Facebook?
Bye, friends on Facebook.
Yes. Thank you so much for listening.
That's a terrible last look.
Thanks for listening, sweet friends on Facebook. We enjoyed having you. I'm going to turn the live off. Bye.
Live off. Bye.